the 60th edition of BC's Pro Wrestling Amplified podcast. It's about to get underway, but there ain't no way that I kick this off without first, right out of the gate, thanking every single one of my Amplified unit members out there that have been down since episode number 1. You guys are the tried and true Amplified unit members, and all of this doesn't even happen if you guys don't come to the dance. And to all my AMP unit members that jumped on while this journey was in progress, welcome, and here's to the next 60 and beyond. Now, I wish I could tell you guys that this was going to be a podcast full of positivity and positive discussions and positive topics. It's just not the case. Given the trying times that we are all going through in the world right now, pro wrestling is not immune to that. In fact, pro wrestling is taking a beating right now. And the bulk of this podcast has to do with the reality. The reality is the last big show for WWE for the foreseeable future is WrestleMania this weekend. In 24 hours, WrestleMania hits the airwaves Saturday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Time for the kickoff, 7 p.m. the actual main show. And then Sunday night, they will have a second and final night of WrestleMania. And that's it. For the foreseeable future, WWE is non-existent. Now, they're going to attempt to put on more shows. There's a show scheduled Monday night. After WrestleMania, there's a Friday night SmackDown scheduled. There's a whole new set of tapings from the Performance Center that is supposed to take place April 10th. But with the new lockdown in Florida, no more gatherings more than 10 people, where it takes more than 10 people just for crew alone. Doesn't look like those tapings are even going to take place. But even if they did, let's not fool ourselves. Theoretically, WrestleMania, this weekend, is the last real shows for WWE. There's nothing to build for going forward. The only reason there was any interest the last several weeks was because it was WrestleMania and there was some feuds that were put in place before this Wabaka captured the globe. After WrestleMania, what is anybody interested in? What are we intrigued with? Nothing. Even Money in the Bank is being canceled May 10th from Baltimore, Maryland at the Royal Farms Arena. That was the next thing they were going to build toward. So what are you going to say? They're going to try to build toward that at the PC and still go with Money in the Bank on May 10th. We saw how piss poor the build to WrestleMania was the last several weeks. Do you honestly think they're going to change their format going forward? Do you think we're going to get something that's other than replays and promos? And again, the only reason that semi-worked was because it's WrestleMania. There is already, no matter how little it was, there is already interest and intrigue put into place. When Mania is said and done, just like every year when things are running normally, pro wrestling hits a slump time, a slump period. It happens all the time after WrestleMania. Go back every year. And that, my friends, is when things are running normally. Now with the interest already dipping because the shows have been so piss poor, and again, whether you're one of those people that say at least they're putting on shows, at least they're trying to entertain, or you're one of those people like yours truly that thinks they could have done a lot more and a lot better, especially being at the PC, their home, their backyard. But no matter what side of the spectrum you sit on, no matter what your way of thinking is, it's going to be a slump period. This one is just going to hit harder than ever before. We already saw that with this past Monday's Raw rating. Do you guys realize Raw pulled in a 1.92? That is the lowest in history. And you can say, well, BC, it's because of what's going on in the world, BC. No. More people now than ever before are inside their homes, yearning for entertainment. You are a week away from WrestleMania, not even Saturday night from Monday night, 5 nights. You're 5 nights away from WrestleMania. More people than ever before are inside their homes. It's the go-home show to Mania, and you pulled a 1.92. Because you threw out a bunch of past pay-per-view replays of matches, you threw together 4 to 5 promos, and you phoned it in. You're curled up in a ball. You didn't try to go the extra step, the extra mile. A 1.92 right before WrestleMania. Do you guys realize how significant that is? 1.92. That is your audience that is actually interested in this WrestleMania. 1.92 saw the final build, and I put that in quotes. That gives you a clear indication of what WrestleMania, the audience that is going to be watching Mania, that gives you an indication on just how bad, business-wise, this is for WWE. That, my friends, is why I say, even from the business standpoint, for the suits and ties right down to the pro wrestlers, to the crew, to the medical staff, that entire company needs to take a break after WrestleMania. This should be the final show. And then you shut things down. You regroup. You come back when WWE is whole again. And personally, I don't feel that they've been whole for over 10 years now, but that's another story. But there's nothing more for them to do. It's clear that they're not capable of garnering our interest, of captivating and intriguing us. It's clear that they're not capable to do that with this format. So until you can have a live crowd again and get back to business as usual, these shows should not be going on. It's a harsh truth, guys. I know we all look forward to these Raw and SmackDown shows out of habit and hope. It's truth. Even if you're not excited for the shows, which most of us have not been in over 10 years, we tune in every Monday night and every Friday out of habit and hope. But sometimes the writing is on the wall and we just have to accept the facts. WWE is incapable of putting on good shows during this time. During these times of hardships. Through adversity, WWE has proven that they can't handle the ball. Through these trying times, through this adversity, WWE has fumbled time after time. Kudos for them trying, even though you're not fooling me. The old man refuses. He's too stubborn to postpone or cancel anything. He's going to try to suck any dollar he can up, any network subscription that he can up. I get it. But at what point are you literally sacrificing your company? At what point is your company losing more prestige by the day, by the hour? That time is now, my friends, and you know I'm right. If the go-home show to WrestleMania garnered a 1.92, lowest in history, what do you think in a couple weeks it's going to be? The Raw after WrestleMania, I understand, that might see a slight spike. because people are wondering what happened if they didn't catch Mania, or what the actual fallout is. But I assure you, start watching those numbers 1 week after Mania and going forward. You think 1.92 is bad? You ain't seen nothing yet. We're going to get into TNA Impact numbers in just a month or two. So what are we doing this for? Why even put your wrestlers at risk at that point? Your suits and ties, your production team, your staff. Why even do it? Live events have all been canceled for the next month and a half. Do you guys realize that? So there's no more live events. You're just doing this now to fulfill your TV obligations. It's clear USA and Fox are going to absolutely understand why you cannot produce new content. Nobody is. Production all around the world has halted. They'll understand. But there's nothing more you're going to accomplish. This is a sinking ship. This is the build to WrestleMania, and it's this lackluster. There's this much non-interest. What are you going to try to do after Mania? Are we really going to play this game to get us to Money in the Bank now? Which is going to be in front of nobody at the Performance Center. Wrestlers will be sent into waves like they're doing for WrestleMania. For every match, the 2 superstars or the 4 superstars, or for Money in the Bank, the 6 superstars that are in the match have to run out of their trailer, get their match done in a half an hour, run back so the next group of superstars can leave their trailer. That's what's happening for Mania. That's how it was taped. How long do we play this game? Guys, it's done. We have to accept reality here. We have to accept the facts. If this was captivating, if this was like super interesting, the ratings were even just steady, not even just going up, even if the ratings were holding steady, then maybe this could work going forward if they found a way to do such. But it's clear the interest is not there. It's clear that people are actually tuning away in droves. People haven't just lost interest. They stopped watching the programs. Even AEW, that's been pretty damn good. Over the last couple weeks, I thought they've been producing some of their best shows. Even AEW lost 134,000 viewers this week. And the week before, they lost over 100,000 viewers from the week previous. But AEW's rating, they had 685,000 viewers this week. That is down from last week's 819,000 viewers. Guys, AEW put together another fucking good show. The interest just isn't there for pro wrestling right now. They lost 134,000 viewers. NXT lost 79,000 viewers this week. And they couldn't afford to lose any. Last week, NXT had 669,000 viewers. This week, NXT pulled in 590,000 viewers. So next week, well, they got a couple of big matches planned, actually. But within the next couple weeks, don't be surprised if NXT is below 500,000 viewers. At that point, Impact will be laughing at them. Then again, I dread to see Impact's numbers right now. But my point is, it's not just WWE's main roster. The interest level for pro wrestling now is not there. More and more people are inside. More and more people are yearning for entertainment, but pro wrestling is not delivering. It's not clicking without an audience. I think the experiment has failed, even with AEW, unfortunately. But I think this is one of those things where pro wrestling does not work without a live crowd. And you're starting to see that way. I'm giving you guys facts. I'm giving you guys the numbers. We don't have to like it, but we have to accept it. Because again, it's the truth. These are facts. Pro wrestling doesn't work without a crowd. I remember when the NBA commissioner told its players that they might hold NBA games with no crowd, empty arena. And LeBron James was one of the first ones that goes, I refuse to play if there's no crowd. Because even James knows, as a performer that he is, as a basketball player at the highest level, he performs in front of a crowd. That's what this is all about. I think pro wrestling is that same way. We hope for the best. We wanted it to be different. Especially on the main roster with the Performance Center. We were hoping that they were going to utilize that Performance Center to the highest degree. We were hoping that we were going to see storylines and characters developed like never before in WWE. And instead, they kind of curled up in a ball. They kind of accepted defeat. Oh, these are trying times. We have to rush out programming. And what we got was just absolutely just horrendous programming. A replay of a pay-per-view, then we come back for a promo. Then another replay of a pay-per-view, and then we had another promo. And we just played that game for 3 hours on Raw, 2 hours on SmackDown. And then we did it the next week, and then we just did it again this week. And that's not going to end for the foreseeable future. Again, the only reason they're pulling in 1.92, the only reason they're semi-interest is because it's WrestleMania. After Mania, when all of this hype dies down, whether good hype or bad hype, who the fuck is tuning in to these type of Raws and SmackDowns? With no crowd. And they have to start from scratch to build to Money in the Bank. With replays of past pay-per-views and some promos. The energy just isn't there. And that translates to the crowd. There's only so, and again, I'm the first one to admit there's been some damn good promos. Those heartfelt, passionate, intense promos, they work without a crowd. My point is, how many of these can they do before we just go, all right, chill out there. That's 6 in this show. That was 5 on SmackDown. There's going to be 7 more this Monday night. You know, how long before that just becomes a little bit regurgitated and just redundant? Anyway, that's where we stand, guys. That's the opening monologue. To me, the last show is this Sunday night. Night number 2 of WrestleMania. For me, that's the last show. Everything they produce after that is going to be sad to watch. I still will tune in for you guys. And that's another story. How many of these podcasts and vids can I do for you guys that has content that is meaningful? Right? How many of these can I, if they're replaying 3 or 4 pay-per-view replay matches and there's 5 promos, what am I really going to talk to you guys about? I still will, because I love talking to you guys about pro wrestling. But at what point do I, as a creator, feel like I'm just putting out content? At that point, I'm no better than WWE. I'm just putting out content just to say I put out content. Just to check off another check mark in a box. Content produced. Check. No, you guys know I produce meaningful content. Thought-provoking. Amplified content. But if the shows aren't doing such, you know, at what point would I have to shut things down? You know, that's the worst case scenario. But, you know, when you talk about WWE and I say they should shut things down, then you know what? If I have to go away for a few weeks or a month or more, then so be it. It's for the betterment of pro wrestling. I know you guys would understand. It would suck that we can't talk pro wrestling with each other. But I know you guys would understand. I know you guys would know, as I would, as everybody in that company should know, that this is what's best for pro wrestling, especially big companies like WWE right now. Take a 2-month hiatus. Come back with a huge SummerSlam. They're already planning on putting the Hall of Fame on SummerSlam weekend. Have a huge welcome back extravaganza for SummerSlam. But go away till like mid-June or July. And when you come back, start the build toward August is SummerSlam. I think that's the right way to go. It sucks that we won't have pro wrestling for a few months, but it's going to help everyone. That's what I'm trying to say, man. I know you guys know that this is the right call. Even AEW, that's putting on good shows, they're losing hundreds of thousands by the week. In the past 2 weeks, AEW has lost more than 250,000 viewers. And they've been putting on actual shows, not replaying shit, not just throwing out promo after promo. And then you look at WWE at a 1.92. I mean, that's just drastically horrible. This is what's best. Would they actually do such and just say, hey, this is what we need to do? Remains to be seen. But it's needed. And after WrestleMania, we play this game all the way to Money in the Bank now. And then what? To the next one. Nobody is going to let you put on a show, Vince. Call the fucking quits while you still can. Save face while you still can. But right now, we're just watching pro wrestling die a slow death. We're watching a ship that was already sinking now sink to a point where it's not even going to be resurrected. We are watching right now a company go down the toilet, and there ain't no plunger to get that son of a bitch back up. For me, this Sunday night will be the last show. Everything after that will be just sad to watch. Theoretically, it is the last show. Realistically, no, they still have more that they're going to put out there to the world. But theoretically, meaning that we have all the facts, we have all we need to make an educated conclusion and decision. And with all the facts that we have to make our educated conclusion and decision, it's that this is it. Sunday night, that's it. WrestleMania, that's it. There's no way we can do this going forward. Now, let's actually talk about the card, if you guys don't mind. WrestleMania 36, this is what they have planned. There's 16 matches. They're going to be divided between 2 different nights. Now, which matches go where? I'm sure they're going to play with that order right up to the last minute. We can pretty much guarantee that the gimmick matches, the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse match, those are probably going to be on 2 separate nights. And obviously, the Universal Championship and WWE Heavyweight Championship, those are going to be on separate nights. I think that's obvious conclusion. And obviously, the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship matches, those should be on separate nights as well. Other than that, who knows where the other 5 matches each night are going to fall. But this is what they have planned, guys. Alistair Black taking on Bobby Lashley. No real feud here. No reason for this match to take up time at WrestleMania. Alistair Black in 60 seconds delivering a dynamite, devastating, kick-ass, badass Black Mass. I'm cool with that finish. It sucks for Bobby Lashley, I understand, but damn, that would be badass. And no harm, no foul, doesn't take up too much time. If it doesn't end in a quick Black Mass victory for Alistair, then I don't understand what this match is about. This is a filler match. I would say put it on the kickoff, but what the hell is that gonna do? These are matches in front of nobody. There's no crowd. It doesn't matter if it's on a kickoff or a main show. It's gonna suck either way. Otis is going to take on Dolph Ziggler. At least there's history with those two. This could be semi-interesting if they utilize Mandy Rose correctly. Remains to be seen, but that has some slight interest if done correctly. And again, that's given WWE way too much benefit of the doubt. King Corbin taking on Elias. I love what they did in the Lion King format last week on SmackDown with Elias falling like Mustafa, like Scar, ending Mustafa's life, man. It was like King Corbin watching Elias fall a good, 10, 15 feet at least from that big podium at the PC. I like that. Other than that, there's no real build here. There wasn't enough time to build anything because WWE didn't even know this match was going to transpire, probably until SmackDown last week. WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. The champions, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. That's right, you probably didn't even know they were still tag team champions because the belts have been so damn irrelevant, almost as irrelevant as Asuka and Kairi. They're taking on Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. That's your... if you guys are wondering, a year ago was when these tag titles came into fruition, right? It was a month before last year's WrestleMania, I believe Elimination Chamber. Sasha Banks and Bayley, first champs. And then they went to the Iconics, I believe, or maybe Nikki Cross and Alexa had them. And then the Iconics, or vice versa. But either way, they went to Asuka and Kairi. At least Asuka and Kairi have held them for a long time. The bad news is they've hardly ever defended them. They were never booked correctly, and thus, you had to keep checking who even is the tag team champions. You had to check if there even still is tag team champions for the women. But if you look at a year ago when these tag titles came into inception, and now you look at where we are a year later, and it's Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross going for them. Yeah, we haven't come a long way, have we? That's your big tag team championship match for the ladies. You know what? I wouldn't doubt it if Vince McMahon just put it on Alexa Bliss again. Alexa and Nikki. You know, and at this point, maybe that's the best thing for Asuka and Kairi. Go your separate ways. And either that means as a singles competitor, or that means literally leaving the WWE. Because Vince McMahon is never going to give Asuka or Kairi any time of day. Ever. That's just the sad truth. The Raw Tag Team Championships are on the line when the Street Bums, Montez Ford and Doughboy, take on Angel Garza and Austin Theory. Angel Garza, who just got to the roster a couple months ago, he was a fill-in for Andrade when Andrade got suspended for the wellness policy. This was just a couple months ago. And Garza is already getting a championship match. Ha ha! And then, you're going to love this, Austin Theory gets a championship title match. Most of you don't even know who Austin Theory is, right? Well, let me tell you. He's a pretty good wrestler. Walloped his way around the indies. Didn't even make a name for himself in NXT. In fact, he was just losing to Tyler Breeze a couple weeks ago. He just made his main roster debut this past Monday in a losing effort on Monday Night Raw. Totally lost his first match. And he has a championship opportunity at WrestleMania. Austin freaking Theory. Even if you love Austin Theory, do you guys understand what I'm telling you? A title match at WrestleMania is Garza and Theory. And I've said numerous times, Garza and Theory are two awesome wrestlers. A tag title match? BC, it's because of reasons that were beyond WWE's control. They had to make changes. Well, guess what one of those changes should have been, guys? Garza and Theory not being in a title match. There's a change for you. On the flip side, the Blue Brand, SmackDown's Tag Team Championships, are on the line in a ladder match. John Morrison and The Miz, the Dirt Sheet, taking on the Usos and the New Day. But we're hearing that The Miz couldn't make these WrestleMania tapings because of this Wabaka going around. So then they started coming up with ideas of maybe we can do one person from each team in a ladder match, but the tag titles are still on the line. And then we heard that they might give Morrison a tag team. But this is off the walls, batshit crazy. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. This is why the show needs to come to an end. The old saying is the show must go on. The new saying is the show must end now. Because now this is a legit circus. This is a train that is so far off the track that is becoming ridiculous to the point of no return. You cannot get this part of the business when you're talking about running it into Jokeville. You cannot get this part of the business back. This part of the believability. People are crying about drones this past Wednesday night on AEW. Well, it's not realistic. Well, how about throwing people in matches that have no business being in the matches? or matches happening that expose the business that make no sense. It's a tag team title match, but you're thinking about having one person from each team compete for the tag titles. BC, it's the circumstances, man. Well, that's my point. These circumstances are making this business into a freaking joke. More so than any entity or any storyline or any character has ever made it a joke in the past. Moving on. Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. They've had a couple-month feud. By a couple months, I mean the better part of 6 or 7 months by now. Right after Survivor Series. This feud is just never ending, and I would normally be okay with a long feud if it was done correctly. Owens and Rollins, I just don't care about. So do what you gotta do at Mania, and please, for all of us, get it over with. The Intercontinental Championship, Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. It would be cool to see Bryan pick up an IC title, but Sami Zayn just got it. And he just got it from somebody who had just gotten it previously, Braun Strowman. If Daniel Bryan gets it, this is literally hot potato. From Shinsuke to Braun Strowman to Sami Zayn to Daniel Bryan, all within a month and a half. Do you guys realize that? That will all be within a month and a half. 4 different champions. SmackDown Women's Championship, Fatal 5-Way Elimination, was supposed to be a 6-pack challenge. Dana Brooke is down from this Wabaka. So it is now champion Bayley taking on Sasha Banks, taking on Naomi, taking on Lacey Evans, taking on Tamina. Knowing Vince McMahon, he's going to pick Lacey Evans to walk out with the championship. You guys know this is a pro Sasha Banks channel. We love Sasha Banks. However, watching Sasha Banks win that championship in front of nobody, man, that would be so just irony, heartbreaking. There's so many words that come to mind. All of those years that they could have had Sasha Banks have a big WrestleMania victory moment hoisting up a championship. And if they choose this year in front of nobody for her to hoist that championship up, I tell you, man, the half of me will be like, yes, she did it. The other half of me will be like, yep, that's Vince. He knew he had to put the title on her eventually. So he picked the time where there's nobody to celebrate it. Son of a bitch. And then you got Tamina Snuka in there. Come on. There's people out there that fucking love Tamina Snuka. They actually try to tell me she's a damn great wrestler. WWE just booked her poorly. Or BC, she's been injured, so she hasn't been able to prove herself. Or BC, she's gotten better. I debunk all of those by saying false, false, and false. A, she never was a good wrestler. B, she has not improved one iota. In fact, she's just regressed. 2, she's been injured so much because she does suck. And 3, what the fuck was 3? Oh, she's taking up a roster spot. There's 3. Yeah, I knew I had another one. I probably have a list of 10 for Tamina. But I'm trying to keep this podcast within an hour long. Tamina Snuka is taking up a roster spot. We could have Evilise right now in WWE or somebody like that. We could have Melina back if she didn't have to go and sign another contract with another smaller promotion because WWE refused to sign Melina. But we could have had Melina. But no, we have Tamina on the roster. Fucking real. Then we go into the Firefly Funhouse match. John Cena versus The Fiend Bray Wyatt. This is one of only a few matches I'm actually looking forward to see what they actually produce, but also it's my boy Bray Wyatt. I'm gonna show up and respect the hell out of him no matter what. For Bray, this is literally do or die, man. After Hell in a Cell, when everybody was saying he's buried, I was one of the few that said, no, he's not. Relax. They need to absolutely double and triple down his booking now because it was a huge mistake at Hell in a Cell. What they did with him and Seth Rollins was just horrible. It even greatly affected Seth Rollins, and everybody turned on him unanimously at that point. Not just for his stupidity on social media. After Hell in a Cell, everybody turned on Rollins too because everyone knew that was a joke decision. And that was absolutely damaging to Bray Wyatt. But it didn't bury him. And I felt that after that, they definitely put Bray Wyatt into a higher gear. And they saved him with that whole feud with Daniel Bryan. I enjoyed it. And he ended up winning that feud with Daniel Bryan. And this was all after they finally gave him the championship, too. They knew they fucked up at Hell in a Cell. So a month later, he ended up getting the championship, had that feud with Daniel Bryan, won that feud with Daniel Bryan. I felt like the Bray Wyatt Fiend character was back on track. And then on a Thursday afternoon, kids were at school, most people at work. They had Bray Wyatt lose in just a few minutes to a 53-year-old Bill Goldberg. Lose the championship, lose all the momentum, all the mystique, everything that character was. It was absolutely lost. If Bray Wyatt wasn't buried in that single moment, it was damn near close. I said from day one, after that occurred, I told you guys, what are you going to do now? Put him in a feud with John Cena, have him beat John Cena at WrestleMania as a consolation prize? That's not going to make up for the wrongs that they have already done to the Fiend character. I stand by that decision, guys. Bray Wyatt defeating John Cena this weekend at WrestleMania is not going to make up for losing that championship to Bill Goldberg in a few minutes in Saudi Arabia at Super Showdown. It is absolutely not going to make up for that. It's not. You could beat John Cena 10 times at the next 10 pay-per-views. It's not going to make up for what happens in Saudi Arabia. It's not. It can be a start, though. And that's what we're hoping for. Now let me talk about the flip side. There's no way Bray Wyatt can lose this match with John Cena. And I think Cena knows that. And that's why Cena chose the Fiend Bray Wyatt to go against. Cena knew he had to come back. And he had to do a job. WWE knew they fucked up yet again, so they put this marriage together last minute. John Cena, Bray Wyatt. They know that Bray Wyatt has to go over here. Bray Wyatt loses to John Cena, I don't care how it's done. Yeah, that's it for Bray Wyatt. I will officially say that, and you guys know how high I am on the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Screw the Fiend. Bray Wyatt in general. There's no way Bray Wyatt can lose to John Cena. That would just be the final nail in that coffin. There's no coming back from that. There is literally no coming back from that. So I'll be definitely keeping my eyes on that matchup more than any other one. Another one that piques some interest for me, and I know a lot of you guys, is the Boneyard match. This is The Undertaker taking on AJ Styles. We think this should just be a cemetery-type setting, but because of what's going on in the world, they couldn't call it that, like a graveyard match, so they had to call it a Boneyard match. But I'm interested in it. I mean, this is the type of stuff that I said from day one you need to be doing. If pro wrestling doesn't work without a crowd, then get out of the ring. You don't have to just show us replays from past pay-per-views or just promo after promo. Get creative, man. So I like that. And this is one of those things where you put them in a different setting. And let's see what they do. These are two consummate professionals, AJ Styles and Undertaker. I'm willing to see, man. You know, I much would have rather preferred AJ Styles versus Alistair Black. But if it's not going to be a pure wrestling match anyway, it's going to be like something like a Boneyard match, then I'm willing to give this a chance. It could be interesting if done correctly. Last man standing, Edge and Randy Orton. Now, this is easily the best build and the best feud in WWE right now. So that's one of the matches that I'm sure all of us are looking forward to the most. And it's another one of those matches, just like the Firefly Funhouse match and the Boneyard match. The last man standing match with Edge and Orton, that can also leave the ring, go backstage, the parking lot, the building across the street. You could take that into a different atmosphere and setting too, because it's last man standing. Does not have to be in the ring. So that's another match that can take us out of the normal, boring, just horrible setting of no crowd and take us into a whole different visual. And you could do so much with that match, just like the Boneyard match, just like the Firefly Funhouse. So I was already looking forward toward Edge and Randy Orton anyway. But just knowing that they could do so much with it, hopefully they do such. The NXT Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley, the title holder, taking on Charlotte Flair. This is obvious. This is somehow going to go to Charlotte Flair, I'm guessing. And if not, then they're going to set up something huge for Charlotte Flair going. I mean, Vince McMahon is not going to waste a WrestleMania opportunity with Charlotte Flair to not make her look like gold. I mean, just last year, he had to insert her into Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey's feud. She had nothing to do with it. You remember that, guys? A few weeks before WrestleMania, Vince just came out and said Charlotte's added to the match. A year before that, he had Charlotte Flair defeat Asuka and take her streak. End her streak. So Charlotte Flair is going to look like gold here one way or the other. And if she wins the NXT Championship, then what? Then the poor NXT women's roster, who's the best women's roster in pro wrestling today, is that NXT roster. And then what? Charlotte is running it? I don't know. Does Bianca Belair come in? Cause some type of shit? Maybe cost Charlotte the match so she can get Rhea Ripley's championship from Ripley? Does she cost Ripley the title? You know, Bianca Belair has some history with these individuals just recently. There's a lot of ways they can go here. Speaking of Women's Championship, the Raw Women's Championship with Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. Ronda Rousey teased it again. Now, I told you guys, originally, Ronda Rousey was supposed to return at WrestleMania. This is when it was supposed to be Tampa Bay. And then with all this, obviously, they held back the reins and they didn't feel it was necessary. But Ronda Rousey is teasing that her return is imminent. Could they have done something at WrestleMania? We don't know. No legit spoiler has come out. And if not, is she Becky Lynch's next big feud, which means that Baszler does not get this championship. But originally, Rousey was supposed to help Baszler get it. Does that still happen? Or is Vince dead set on having Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey? And that's the real reason Becky had this championship the entire last year. They were all waiting for Ronda Rousey this year. But because of what's going on in the world, that altered plans drastically. Does Ronda Rousey show up in some form or capacity? Maybe something that was taped totally away from anyone. So not even a spoiler that breaks even knows. Does Rousey show up in some capacity at Mania or right after? And start something with Lynch and or Baszler. And Ronda Rousey just fueled that speculation even more within the last 48 hours. Ronda Rousey was doing a Q&A, I believe on her social media, I want to say. And she was asked about when she is returning to WWE, and she said soon, very soon. So Ronda, I don't think Vince, Stephanie would have liked her to say that. But for Ronda to come right out and say, soon, very soon, that tells you something. Becky Lynch actually had to respond. And Becky Lynch told Shayna, you better hurry up and take that title from me because Ronda's casting that shadow again. Ronda Rousey just admitted she's coming back soon. We already know she met with Triple H a few weeks ago. The plan's already in motion, guys. Ronda's coming back, whether she's taking it from her friend Shayna or she's taking it from Becky, which was the original plan. Ronda's taking that shit. I wouldn't be shocked if she has some type of, or is the decision maker in this title match at Mania. Universal Championship's on the line when Bill Goldberg takes on not Roman Reigns, but Reigns' replacement, Braun Strowman. None of us would have a problem with this if Braun Strowman was continued week after week, month after month, year after year, to be booked like the monster that he originally was. They have 50-50'd him so bad. They have yo-yoed him so bad. They have turned him into a joke ridiculously that there's no way any of us can look at Braun Strowman as a world champion. This is a guy who's won tag titles with a 10-year-old. This is a guy who couldn't even keep the Intercontinental Championship for more than a couple weeks. This is a guy who lost to Brock Lesnar in minutes. This is a guy who we've seen throw temper tantrum after temper tantrum. I wanted to get behind Braun. I did several times. But you can only fool me so many times before I stop caring. How many times can you fool somebody? Vince is trying to fool his audience whenever he needs Braun to fill in for somebody that he's this monster. And then he's booked like a monster for a few weeks. And then he's booked to look like a joke, an absolute toddler. And now that Roman had to cancel literally last minute, Vince had to go with one of his biggest superstars, literally biggest, like in size. and he had to put Braun in there. I know Goldberg was supposed to lose this championship, guys, but I say keep it. There is no reason whatsoever to have Braun Strowman defeat Bill Goldberg. You're telling me you ruined the Fiend anyway, just to put it on Roman Reigns. That was bad enough. But now you're going to put it on Braun Strowman? You took it off the Fiend to give it to Braun Strowman? Seriously? And then on the flip side is the WWE Championship. Champion Brock Lesnar taking on Drew McIntyre. This is a moment we've all been waiting for McIntyre. We know he's been waiting for this moment his entire career. And that's him hoisting up that championship. Just like Sasha Banks. I mean, there's a big part of us that are going to be just feeling a great sense of pride for him. And being happy and joyful for the dude. And for all of us, we wanted to see it for so long. But just like Sasha Banks, this is a pro Sasha Banks channel, so I'm guessing most of you guys would love to see Sasha Banks hoist up that championship this weekend. But it's also going to be bittersweet because, as I aforementioned, it's in front of nobody. All these years that Vince could have given her that big moment. But now, in front of nobody, now Sasha can hoist up that championship and have a bittersweet moment, I know beggars can't be choosers, take the title win. But, man, it's just, there were so many opportunities for Sasha Banks to have that big moment in years past, and Vince decided to overlook her, is the truth. And even if she wins this weekend, I mean, it's against 5 other competitors. We're supposed to be, 5 other, right? Including her, it would have been 6. So this one would be 4 other competitors. Now it's a 5-pack challenge. But still, it's against numerous bodies in there. Why can't we just have a long Bayley-Sasha feud leading into Mania? Not leading into SummerSlam, into Mania, and Sasha wins the championship in that fashion. You could have done it for a couple of years. They just either don't know how to do it or they don't care to do it. You guys remember just a couple years ago when Sasha and Bayley was one of the hottest feuds in WWE and all of pro wrestling, and instead they decided to put them together and form a tag team known as the Boss and Hug Connection. You don't need me to tell you that was a drastically horrible decision when we could have gotten Bayley and Sasha at WrestleMania for a championship even. But Vince knew. He's like, I don't see a blonde in there. I don't see an Irish woman. I don't see anything that I like. It's Bayley and Sasha. Put them together and put them in some stupid tag team division. Vince, we don't even have tag titles. What do you mean well, make titles then. It's bittersweet, man. Same thing with McIntyre. I mean, this was all culminating to this big moment for McIntyre, and now it doesn't even look like he's going to have this moment in front of a live crowd. Or not looking like. He's not going to. So that's bittersweet, too. He's going to hoist up that championship, and nobody is going to... Is Michael Cole going to be like, woo, making crowd noises and shit? And that's what... I guess that's, this whole podcast comes full circle. Because it's what we said earlier on at the beginning of this podcast. How, pro wrestling just doesn't work without a live crowd. It's one of those things that unfortunately doesn't work without a live crowd. Some things can... Some things just don't. Yeah, man. I'm just picturing these moments. If Sasha was to win a championship this weekend, if and when we expect it to definitely happen, Drew McIntyre hoist up that championship. Like, these moments are just going to be like, yeah. It's just, man, to say bittersweet doesn't even begin to do it justice. But anyway, that's WrestleMania, guys. 16 matches separated between 2 different nights. Most matches I don't even know why they're taking place. They shouldn't be. Some matches intrigue me. Other matches, they're moments that have been long overdue. They're just going to be very bittersweet, subdued moments. We're all going to tune in, or maybe not. Again, I just showed you guys the ratings, or told you guys about the ratings for this Monday. Maybe a lot of people are not going to tune in. Just another reason why this has to be one of the last shows. I know they have the Monday Night Raw and maybe even SmackDown. They just have to come out to their audience and say, that's it, guys. We're packing it in for a couple of months. Because people are tuning out. People are no longer watching. I don't see a reason to put these shows on anymore. After WrestleMania, that has to be it. This has to be the last big show. And in my eyes, it has to be the last show. So come out on Raw or SmackDown and just say we're packing it in. Bottom line, man. But that has to be done. It's long overdue. It had been done for weeks now, actually. SmackDown tonight is going to be, they're promoting John Cena answering Bray Wyatt's challenge for the Firefly Funhouse match. We already know he accepts because we know for a fact that match transpired. And also Roman Reigns and Goldberg go face to face. This is where we believe they're going to write Roman Reigns out of the match somehow. Now, this was filmed before Roman Reigns informed WWE that he's not participating in his main event title match at Mania. So if they're going to do an angle, I would think it's going to be done after whatever happens between the face-to-face from Goldberg and Roman. I hope you guys are catching my drift here. I think they're going to have that face-to-face and then something happens backstage maybe. But from what I was told is that was filmed before Mania's tapings. So don't be surprised if you see Roman and Goldberg go face-to-face like nothing, like the match is still on, and then something happens backstage supposedly. But that's what it looks like. Even Triple H said the way that they are writing Roman Reigns out of the main event is very unique. That was his word. So, yeah, I'm guessing it would have to be if you already filmed their face-to-face segment. Everything is in shambles, man. This train is so far off the fucking tracks. WrestleMania, as much as we love WWE, we love pro wrestling, WrestleMania has to be it for WWE. As far as AEW and such, we'll see. They're producing good shows at least, but it's clear the audience is just not showing up. The audience has lost interest. The audience doesn't like pro wrestling without an audience. So I think even AEW at that point would have to pack it in for a couple months. This is just not working, guys. And this isn't just my opinion. I'm trying to give you guys the actual facts, the actual ratings, the actual lack of interest. I'm showing you guys the WrestleMania card and how much it has been drastically changed and altered to a point where it doesn't even make sense, some of these matches. If you think it's going to get better in the next 4 to 8 weeks, it's not. 4 to 8, not 48 weeks, guys. That may have sounded like 48 weeks, but then again, you don't know with this frickin' Wabaka. You talk about trying times and adversity, but either way, it's WrestleMania weekend. I know it doesn't feel like it. No Hall of Fame, no access. None of that shit. The go-home shows are anything but. But tomorrow night, Saturday night, is WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Night 2 on Sunday night. On Sunday morning, guys, I'm going to have the good, the bad, and the ugly of WrestleMania Night 1. On Monday morning, I will have the good, the bad, and the ugly of WrestleMania Night number 2. So just letting you guys know how that's going to go. There is going to be 2 separate good, the bad, and the uglies. Until next time, guys, which will be tomorrow morning, where we review SmackDown's go-home show. I will have the review for you guys tomorrow morning. Until then, hang tight. We're all getting through this together. I'll talk to you guys in the morning for SmackDown's review, and that'll be just hours away at that point from WrestleMania. Check you later.